So the crowd is ready. Everybody is stoked. Green Bay won the toss. They elected to defer, so we're going to see Sam Bradford right away. Mason Crosby to kick off. Cordero Patterson, who holds a record that will never be broken. He's one of a couple of guys to run a kickoff back 109 yards. And that's as long as it gets. He did it on a Sunday night 3 years ago. And we are underway at the brand new digs with a touchback. So coming out is Sam Bradford. He was the #1 draft choice overall in 2010. Rams picked him, played his college ball at Oklahoma, went to Philadelphia last year, had an up and down sort of season. And then, of course, the trade before this season began. Even though Sean Hill did get the start last week, Bradford did not get into the game. His numbers last year under Chip Kelly at Philadelphia. And the brand new Vikings quarterback goes to work. And of course, one of the great rewards of playing for the Vikings is you have Adrian Peterson in the backfield, and they start from the shotgun. And the first play from scrimmage in the new ballpark is a pass to Peterson, but he is run out of bounds right away by Blake Martinez, a rookie from Stanford. Let's take a look at the Viking starters.
Sam Bradford, Oklahoma.
Adrian Peterson, Palestine, Texas, OU.
Zach Lyon, SMU.
Charles Johnson, Grand Valley State University.
Stephon Diggs, University of Maryland.
Kyle Rudolph, Notre Dame.
Matt Khalil, University of Southern California.
Alex Boone, offensive line performance.
Joe Berger, Michigan Tech University.
Brandon Fusco, Slippery Rock.
Andre Smith Jr., Roll Tide.
Boone and Smith picked up in the offseason, so they're the new guys up front. Second down and 10, and now Peterson will get taken down after a short gain last week. He was held to 31 yards on 19 carries in the game in Nashville.
Well, you're going to have to get this guy blocked. Mike Daniels, he is the best defensive lineman the Green Bay Packers have. And to be perfectly honest, it wasn't a great day last week for this Minnesota Viking offensive line, and they're right where they do not want to be against the Green Bay Packers. They do not want to be in 3rd and long. Now Clay Matthews and company, here they come.
And Julius Peppers seeing spot duty. There's Matthews. Peppers also in the game. 3rd down and 8 from the 27-yard line. And here come the Packers, and Bradford gets it away and completes the pass to Adam Thielen for a first down, covered by Demarius Randall. So they convert on a 3rd down, a gain of 15.
Well, it's one of the things you get when you get the #1 player in the draft from his year. Sam Bradford, very good at throwing these comeback routes. And what that does is it helps set up some deeper throws. There's no question that Sam Bradford's arm strength is superior to Sean Hill's. And now they have a few more plays in the playbook, especially in the passing game.
From the 42-yard line. Inside handoff. Peterson led the league in rushing last season. Stopped there by Troy Guyon. And let's take a look at that Green Bay defense.
With Troy Guyon, Bradford High School Tornadoes.
Mike Daniels, Iowa.
Nick Perry, USC.
Jake Ryan, Michigan.
Blake Martinez, Stanford.
Clay Matthews, USC. Demarius Randall, Arizona State.
Morgan Burnett, Georgia Tech.
Clint Dix, the University of Alabama.
Ladarius Gunner, the U.
Quentin Rollins, Miami, Ohio.
And you don't see Peppers amongst the starters, but he will play probably 30 or so snaps tonight, mainly in pass rush situations. Bradford deep downfield, and that pass is incomplete. Clay Matthews blitzing that time, putting the heat on, and it is 3rd down.
Here we go. Clay Matthews going against his former USC teammate, Matt Khalil, and that is one to be nervous about. He basically knocked Sam Bradford off, and that throw went awry.
And there is the price that Matthews pays as he comes limping off the field, getting twisted around. Rolled up on. Kyle Fackrell comes in his spot. And anytime you replace him, there is a huge drop-off. Bradford has time, slings it to the outside and too high. That time intended for Kyle Rudolph. So they work on Matthews, and let's take a look at what happened to him.
Yeah, it looked like right as he came around, LaTroy Guion, his own teammate, rolled up that right leg. And so for Sam Bradford, at least he got a couple of completions in, maybe breathing a little better right now, and turn it over to the defense.
Picked up 1 first down, and now Jeff Locke sends it skyward. And a fair catch is called for and made at the 9-yard line by Micah Hyde. And that's where Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers go to work on Sunday Night Football. Green Bay with the ball for the first time from the 10-yard line. Rodgers surveys and throws to the outside, caught by Devontae Adams, and he loses the ball at the 14-yard line, picked up by the Vikings. Green Bay may have gotten it back. It was extracted by Eric Kendricks. Packers think they have the ball back after the Vikings looked as if they were going to get the recovery and even a potential touchdown.
It looked like Sendejo picked it up and then lost it again.
Rolling on the field is a fumble.
Randall
Recovered by
Cobb
the
took it from
offense.
him.
Second down.
I think it was Hendricks knocking it out, and then Randall Cobb is going to come in and save the day.
Pick it up, and then Randall Cobb's going to come in and take it from him. See if his knee was down. That could be an argument if you wanted
Ruling
it.
on the field was a fumble, first recovered by the defense. The defense then fumbled, recovered by the offense. First and 10, Green Bay.
There's no question it ended up in the hands of Randall Cobb, but was Sendejo's knee down before.
Right now, Zimmer can he can challenge this and contend that his knee was down and he had the ball, but the ball looked like it was coming out. So I'm sure he thought about it.
That last one, though, made it look like it was a fumble, didn't you think?
It did. So Zimmer has the option here. I'm sure he's hearing from the guys upstairs whether or not he wants to do it.
And I'm sure he would love to see more than a handful of replays on the Jumbotron instead of make some noise. There it goes, coming out. Knee down there. Boy, it would be tough to overturn what you saw on the field.
It would be.
What a great play by Randall Cobb to stay after that.
This is being reviewed. Zimmer doesn't have to challenge because it's being reviewed as a turnover, because it was an initial turnover, and then Minnesota turned the ball over, and it's going to stand as ruled on the field. So it's first down from the 10-yard line, and they give it to Eddie Lacy, and he gets banged around as he takes it up to the 15-yard line. Green Bay wants to go fast. Little sugar huddle at the line of scrimmage. There's McCarthy. It went back to a first down because Minnesota actually had the ball for a scant second. So they had possession. So it went back to first down instead of second. So now it's second down and 5 from the 15-yard line. And Rodgers, quick throw and nearly picked off. That's Eric Kendricks, who had a 77-yard touchdown last week on a pick against Tennessee. It's 3rd and 5 as Matthews tries to walk it off along the bench.
One of the things that Aaron Rodgers talked about was the quickness and athleticism of these inside backers, that they had the ability to get back underneath. You'll see them so many times up there in that A gap as they are right now, faking the blitz up in here. But their ability to get back and make plays in the passing game, pretty uncanny.
3rd and 5. And Rodgers is going to roll and throw deep downfield and incomplete for Jordy Nelson. Covered by Trey Waynes, and so Green Bay forced the punt on their first possession.
Well, Jordy Nelson, such a big playmaker for this team in 2014. There's Trey Waynes, a second-year defensive back who really has the hat on him tonight. Xavier Rhodes not able to play in this one, but that perfect coverage.
Jacob Shum is the new Green Bay punter. Tim Mastay had done it for several years. He was cut. And Shum's first punt of the night bounces near midfield. And he takes a minor Green Bay hop. down to the 47-yard line. 4 minutes into the game. No score in Minneapolis. It is beautiful. We'll take you around tonight. Ziggy Wilf owns the team, bought it in 2005. Proud night for him. Pass caught by Jerick McKinnon out in the flat, and he gets buried by Joe Thomas. By the way, Matthews is back in the game, so Matthews had to come off, shook it off, and he's back in at second down.
There's Clay Matthews back playing outside linebacker this year after playing at least a year and a half or so at inside linebacker. He was a good soldier. He did it. He still made the Pro Bowl and all that, but you could tell he was excited about the possibility of being a disruptor, as he put it, on the outside.
He told us last night, he said it's real simple. He said I went back to the outside where it's most relevant and impactful. Peterson is the back. Send him out into the flat, and Bradford gets enveloped and sacked. Mike Daniels, number 76. Chris talking about him. Outstanding up front. Fifth-year man out of Iowa gets the sack.
Brandon Fusco really with no chance. Watch this. This is just a straight bull rush. Going to take him right back into Sam Bradford. And Sam Bradford is going to have to figure out in a hurry. This offensive line is struggling in pass protection. They're maulers. They're run blockers. They are not really pass protectors. So he's going to have to start getting that ball out of his hand. And, of course, he doesn't have a whole lot of experience with this offense, all of a couple of weeks. So I'm sure he's still processing things out there.
And a lot of fun on a 3rd and 20. Play clock at 1. They just do get it off, and Bradford fires over the middle, and that's caught by Diggs. Stephon Diggs gets into Packer territory, but about 6 yards short of the first down. Thomas makes the tackle, gain of 16, and the second Minnesota punt forthcoming.
Well, Julius Peppers now getting a chance to go from inside. Is going to get one big shot on Sam Bradford there. Sam Bradford is holding on to that ball for maybe a second too long right now.
Blocked to send it down toward Micah Hyde, and it's blocked. It's blocked, and it will bound to a halt at the 45-yard line. Ty Montgomery, number 88 for the Packers, comes off the field with the block. Right up the middle he comes and blocks the punt.
They just have it right here. He's going to loop in behind Joe Thomas, I think that is, and find just a little seam. Boy, that is a big flop of field position right there.
He had the nose down, trying to put backspin on it. Montgomery had other ideas, and now Aaron Rodgers gets it at the 48-yard line. Rodgers last year, his numbers were pretty good, as they always are, but their offense was not remotely what it was in 2014, and a lot of that, of course, was missing Jordy Nelson. Rodgers now will flip it out to Randall Cobb, and Cobb, who recovered that fumble on that first series, takes it to the 46. So Aaron's numbers, even for him, an okay year, not great. 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, rating is fine. Completion percentage, though, only 61%. That's his lowest as a starter in his career.
Yeah, I'm not sure anybody could have predicted quite the impact losing Jordy Nelson was going to have on this offense.
They still made it to the playoffs. They won a playoff game against Washington and then lost that overtime thriller at Arizona. Lacey goes to the outside, and then Lacey will get corralled by Stephen, number 93, up at the 44-yard line. A lot of talk about Eddie Lacey last year. You know, he's overweight. Did he lose weight? You know, we asked everybody yesterday, did he lose weight? What'd you come away thinking?
What did Mike McCarthy say? He said, I don't talk about anybody's weight, especially mine. So they weren't going to give it up. He had a couple big runs, but now here we are, 3rd and short, right where they'd like to be with a big back like Lacey.
About halfway through the first quarter. Play fake, and Rodgers, as he does so brilliantly, going deep downfield, and it is a penalty and dropped by Adams, but a flag. Terrence Newman still around, 14th year in the league. A lot of those in Dallas. Terrence Newman covering on the play, and they throw the flag in the end zone.
3rd down and 2, and McCarthy, the play caller, what are you going to do? Of course, you're going to throw it deep against the older guy back there. Watch this right here. He's going to grab him, move the hips just a little bit, and as we've seen before, those are the ones that get called. So this will be way down the field.
Pass interference, number 23, defense. 1st down at the spot of the foul.
Second oldest defensive player in the league. Only James Harrison, the Pittsburgh linebacker, is older. That's a 40-yard penalty.
The one thing that Terrence Newman typically does well is not give up big plays. He will give up a lot of throws underneath, but not those big ones. He just overreacted there. I think he had a better chance if he just let him go.
Jared Cook lines up in a fullback position in the backfield, a tight end. Lacy is the tailback from the 4. Give it to Eddie Lacy, and Lacy will thread his way about halfway to the goal line. 2nd down and goal from the 2-yard line.
You know, at the left guard position, Lane Taylor now takes over for longtime Pro Bowl guard Josh Sitton, who now plays with the Bears. It was stunning for a lot of us because they had, in my mind, the 2 best guards in football playing together with T.J. Lang on the other side. But in fairness, Lane Taylor came out on opening day and played very, very well, and McCarthy was shocked that we were shocked.
But everybody was shocked, including Sitton. 2nd and goal from the 2. Play clock at 2. The fake to Lacy, and Rodgers rolling, getting chased, fires, incomplete, but another flag, and that's Terrence Newman again holding Jordy Nelson. So 2 penalties on Newman, giving them a 1st and goal at the 1. Referee is Walt Anderson tonight, and he will make it official here.
Prior to the pass, holding number 23, defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic 1st down.
Well, Terrence Newman out here working on Jordy Nelson. Right when he started to make the move back, they considered that a hold and got it called. Last week, it was Trey Waynes, the other cornerback, that was targeted more than any corner in football. And tonight they're going after the veteran. There's Xavier Rhodes on the sideline, who is not able to play with the knee injury tonight.
Hurt himself in warm-ups last week. 2nd game in a row he has missed. They send Cook in motion to the outside. Handed to Lacy, and Lacy angles his way. Well, he's going to be stopped a little bit short. Just inches shy of the goal line. 2nd down. Look at it from right down the line.
Nice play by Linville Joseph to get around. I don't think the ball ever touches. Remember, it just has to touch the front side of that line. I didn't think it did. Good call.
No. And Kendrick's right there to make sure. So it's 2nd down and a couple of inches. 2nd and goal. Under 6 to play in a scoreless thus far opening quarter. Play clock at 1, and
oh boy, like last week.
Yeah, they're going to have to take a timeout. They had a problem last week. A delay, they had to take a timeout, and Rodgers blamed himself for the lack of communication. That Packer offense, let's take a look at them.
Aaron Rodgers, Butte Community College.
Eddie Lacy,
Alabama. Jordy Nelson, Kansas State.
Randall Cobb, Kentucky.
Devontae Adams, Fresno State.
Jared Cook, South Carolina.
David Bakhtiari, University of Colorado, Boulder.
Lane Taylor, Oklahoma State.
J.C. Tretter, Cornell University.
T.J. Lang, Birmingham Brother Rice.
Brian Balaga, Iowa.
I think I'm going to sign Jared Cook to do some commercials.
He'd be good.
Yeah.
He'd be good. I tell you, he is a guy that is a big play threat now on this offense. Go back to Jermichael Finley and some of that role, the ability to get down the field. Of all the active tight ends in the game right now, only Gronkowski has a higher average per catch.
After the Green Bay timeout, 2nd down and goal. This drive started at the Packer 48-yard line. Big play, of course, was the 40-yard penalty on Newman. Lacy is the running back. That's Cobb coming in motion, setting to the left. Rodgers rolling, looking, throwing, touchdown. Jordy Nelson, his 2nd in 2 weeks. He went to Nelson 6 times last week for only 32 yards with a touchdown. There was Montgomery, whose block kick set them up at midfield. A 52-yard drive, and Green Bay scores.
Everybody's thinking run, so why not? A little bootleg action, and you get the old wily veteran on the outside, Jordy Nelson, who's going to fake a block. Let me block you here on this run play, and then head on out to the flat for an easy touchdown.
Crosby for the extra point. Green Bay was the most pass-oriented team in the red zone inside the 20 last year, and they score here on a pass. Kick is good. 5:39 to go in the opening quarter on opening night at US Bank Stadium, and Green Bay on the board, 7-0. Down through the translucent roof here. A lot of sun during the day games here. The guys were saying you feel like you're outside. Polyurethane, high-tech roof, and everything else about this place. $1.1 billion will get you a US Bank Stadium. From the 1-yard line, Cordero Patterson swinging to the outside, cutting it back up the middle. Gets taken down at the 23-yard line by Marwin Evans. 5.5 to go in the first. Minnesota with the ball. Sam Bradford on the bench last week. Sean Hill ran the team. Timeline: first overall selection out of Oklahoma by the Rams in 2010. So 5 years there, injury plagued along the way. Then he gets traded to Philadelphia. He loved playing for Chip Kelly, and he's one of only 4 quarterbacks who were the first overall pick to play for 3 different teams before turning 30. David Carr, Jeff George, and George Shaw filled out that quartet. So Sam takes over at the 23-yard line. And the fake toss, and then Peterson, and he can't get on track. He gets tackled at the line of scrimmage, and Mike Daniels is right there.
Yeah, but for Sam Bradford, how many different places is this guy going to land? You know, he was finally happy in Philadelphia. He was playing well at the end of the year. And he gets that text at 8 a.m. from Coach Peterson basically saying, hey, we need to talk. And he figured they were going to make a move of some kinds and just wanted to give him a heads up. They made a move, all right. They moved him right to Minnesota. Sent a private plane. He was here at 8 o'clock in the morning and practicing later that day.
2nd and 11, and the pass is caught on the outside, and it's Diggs breaking 2 tackles before he is finally run out of bounds, picking up the first down on a 2nd and 11. Leading receiver last year for the team, Diggs, with a 15-yard gain.
No question about it that Stephon Diggs has become the go-to guy on this football team. They said it didn't take Sam Bradford long to figure it out. Look at these moves. It's going against their best corner and Demarius Randall. That's the kind of help Sam Bradford is going to need, not just from these receivers, but especially up front on this offensive line.
Yeah, Diggs had a good rookie year. He was a 5th-round draft choice out of Maryland last season. 4:20 to go. Bradford stepping up in the pocket, fires over the middle. Good coverage that time, and incomplete. Burnett is right there covering the tight end Kyle Rudolph, who was the Pro Bowl MVP 3 years ago. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, it looked like Kyle Rudolph was going to get open on the first guy. Makes a nice move on Clinton Dix, and Morgan Burnett's going to come up and strip the ball away. But that was a well-thrown ball. You just wonder now, Morgan Burnett, a guy that really has taken over the leadership role in this secondary, and Clinton Dix, and that combination has been very, very good on the back end for Green Bay.
2nd and 10. And again, a fake toss, and well, the rushing leader keeps running into big number 76, Mike Daniels. So after 31 yards on 19 carries, Peterson tonight has 4 carries for 1 net yard.
Watch him jump out and then jump back in. one thing Mike Daniels knows about playing against Adrian Peterson is so many times where he starts is not where he ends up. So that time Mike Daniels just sat there and waited, and Adrian came to him.
So on 3rd and 10, they bring Matt Asiata, number 44, into the game in the backfield, and you got all kinds of action up front. Matt Khalil, number 75, jumping, and Dayton Jones coming across the line, and Walt Anderson to make the call.
Ball start, number 75, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Yeah, they made so many moves up front to try and improve this offensive line. Alex Boone coming over from the 49ers, Andre Smith coming over from the Bengals, and they think they're going to be better pass protectors. But the most important thing when you've got Adrian Peterson in the backfield, you've got to be better run blocking, because it didn't happen on opening weekend, and it has not happened so far here tonight.
Pretty amazing. You take 40% of the offensive line and change it, and the guy won the rushing title last year. And Bradford will slip it off to Asiata, and he takes the ball up to the 44-yard line, but short of the 1st down, and that punting group will come in for the 3rd time. Of course, the last kick was blocked.
Well, and the biggest play of the game so far is Randall Cobb stealing that ball away from Andrew Sendeo. I mean, that's the kind of breaks they're going to need. And Norv Turner, he knows he's going to have to be patient with this running game. He said, but it is hard when you run it up in there and you don't gain anything. I want to keep giving Peterson a chance, but so far, no go.
Now locked to punt. Micah Hyde back deep. Very high kick. Fair catch called for and made at the 11-yard line. 2.5 to go in the quarter. Green Bay 7, Minnesota nothing. Aaron Rodgers, a lot of success through the years against the Minnesota Vikings. You go back to 08 when he became a starter through 14, and he was fantastic against the Vikings. 31 TDs, only 4 interceptions. But Mike Zimmer came in, and he's been, well, I wouldn't say held him in check, but those numbers don't look like the first few seasons. So Aaron Rodgers facing Mike Zimmer, who of course came in with a defensive pedigree and took a team that was last in scoring defense when he took over and got him to 5th in his 2nd year. Mike McCarthy, hard to believe, already 11 years as the Green Bay head coach. Begin this drive with James Starks in the backfield. Lacy on the bench for the moment. And Rodgers flips it to the outside, and Nelson is going to stay in bounds for another yard or so, covered there by Terrence Newman.
Yeah, Terrence Newman gave up the deep ball. Now he's going back to form a little bit. It's going to give a little bit bigger cushion. So Aaron Rodgers is going to take advantage of that. It's interesting, isn't it, with Mike McCarthy back calling the plays. He said the one thing I didn't know was I thought I'd be more of a game manager by not calling the plays, but the only way you can manage the game is by controlling the tempo, and he's back to doing that now.
Yeah, he gave it up to Tom Clements for a while last year, even though they were undefeated, and then took it back. 2nd down and 4, and the pass is caught up at the 23-yard line by Cobb, covered there by Sendeo, and that will move the sticks. 1st down.
Great matchup on the outside here. Everson Griffin going against David Bakhtiari, who just signed a 4-year, $51 million contract for a big guy. Bakhtiari really has pretty amazing feet. The ability to dance in front of a quick pass rusher like that. We'll watch that matchup all night.
1.5 minutes to go in the opening frame. This time out of the pistol. And he gives it to Starks, the old workhorse. Out to the 25, James Starks, so valuable through the years to this team. Never really been the primary back. 7th year out of Buffalo. Great in the Super Bowl, great in postseason. And what a guy to have as your number 2 back.
Yeah, and one thing we learned last year, there were only 4 teams that had 2 backs over 600 yards. And of course, the Green Bay Packers, one of them with Lacy and Starks, but all 4 of those teams made the playoffs.
Final minute of the quarter. 2nd down and 7. Rodgers changing the play despite the din. And fires deep downfield and incomplete. Intended there for Devontae Adams, covered by Trey Waynes, making it 3rd down and 7.
On the outside, Trey Waynes, who got quite a bit of work. Boy, that was some move by Devontae Adams to get off the line of scrimmage, but he got a lot of work in preseason, and I think it's paying off for him. Here's Bakhtiari with that matchup against Griffin. Tom Johnson got a little pop that time on Aaron Rodgers, but he's been pretty clean back there with the protection.
With the crowd roaring on 3rd and 7. Rodgers pressured, spun around, loses the ball. The ball is loose. Eric Kendricks was there. Walt Anderson coming right in to see who's got it. And it looked like Hunter came in as well. And Green Bay able to retain possession.
Right here, you're going to see, I think, just a spy where he's going to make sure Aaron Rodgers doesn't run. All of a sudden he sees an opening. What the heck? Let me go get this guy. Spins him around. Rodgers about to escape. And then Danielle Hunter came up and got the ball out. And so far, the Vikings not a lot of luck on those balls that have been on the ground.
2 fumbles deep in Packer territory, both recovered by Green Bay. Shum's kick. Fairly short, and fair caught at the 47-yard line, and that will take us to the end of the first quarter. With the score, Green Bay 7, Minnesota nothing, and Sunday Night Football continues after these messages. Minneapolis, regular season opener, this beautiful facility. The Vikings have had the ball for 13 drives, no touchdowns, and only 17 first downs, and Peterson yet to get on track. They take over at the 46-yard line. And Peterson is going to get stuffed again by Guyon. A lot of ways to win a game, and Minnesota did it last week without a touchdown. The Rams are 1-1 without a touchdown in 2 games because they beat Seattle today 9-3. But Minnesota's not going to win this game if they don't score some touchdowns.
And they're on pace not to score with the way they're blocking up front right now. I mean, really, you just have to say it exactly the way that it is here. The Green Bay Packers have dominated this game with their defensive line. They don't even have Mike Daniels in there now, and they're still giving them a loss of 3 here on first down.
And Peterson with 5 carries for -3. Bradford fires down the left side and hits his tight end Kyle Rudolph for a first down at the Green Bay 39-yard line. Ladarius Gunter covering on the play.
Beautiful throw. Watch this. Only a 3-man rush, so he's got time. Watch him drop this one in the bucket. Up over the top of Micah Hyde and right down before Gunter could get there. We were watching him in practice the other day, and he just does that so well. That is a major tool for him.
19-yard gain. Again, the Packers playing without Sam Shields with a concussion. He is inactive, and that pass is caught on the outside by Adam Thielen, who had a great night when Minnesota won the division crown at Lambeau Field in Week 17 last year. First down here.
Nice throw by Sam Bradford, but Adrian Peterson here is going to end up with the blitz pickup. Here comes Blake Martinez, the rookie, and he stones him and allows Bradford to get just a little bit comfortable.
Now Sam going deep downfield, and there's contact, and the crowd wants a flag, and they don't get one as Adam Thielen and Quentin Rollins doing a little hand fighting. Incomplete, second down.
It's a veteran move there by Quentin Rollins. He didn't hit him, but watch when he turns, and he's in a little bit of trouble here, and he's just going to run his body into Thielen. Now that can be called a foul. The officials here let it go, I think in part because Thielen was running on that angle, don't you, Al?
Absolutely. So they've been going Thielen's way twice tonight for 27 yards. Don't connect there, but we mentioned he had 2 big plays last year in the season closer at Lambeau, and then Rudolph doesn't turn around in time, and that is incomplete, and that will make it third down.
Well, that one hurt too because they had a little something set up. They're going to have their big tight end Kyle Rudolph out there in the flat against Micah Hyde with a chance, and they just mistimed it. You know, these are the sort of things you just can't practice. You got to give Bradford credit. He's getting the ball out of his hand, but it just, Rudolph never saw it.
Matthews and Daniels both in for Green Bay now. Early in the second quarter. Bradford surveys. He has Asiata in the backfield with him.
Matthews right there now. Keep an eye on him.
Here he comes. And Bradford gets it away, and it's caught, but the ball is dropped and then recovered by Thielen. So he's caught 3 tonight. But that was Ladarius Gunter who gets in there, gets a hand in there. And now you've got a 4th down and very short.
Let's see, make sure he had control of this ball 2 feet down and then do something as a runner. 1-2, does something, tuck it away. That was indeed a fumble.
A lot of offensive recoveries tonight, 2 for Green Bay and now 1 for Minnesota. So it's 4th down. They leave the offense in. 4th
and a yard and a half. I think I'd throw it. I haven't seen anything makes me believe I can run it for the 1st down.
But he has Peterson flanking him. He sends Diggs with 2 others to the left side. Looks over the middle and throws, and that is caught by Diggs at the 14. 1st down. Got position on Randall. Blitzed by Matthews. Bradford got it away.
One of the tough things when you get a guy that comes across in motion is this guy has to stop and come back underneath. Nice job that time by Diggs, just giving a good enough target there. A little quick move right at the top and just before Clay Matthews got there.
Bradford 10 of 15 for 98 yards. And then you got a whistle before the snap. Looked like there was maybe illegal motion. Andre Smith or a false start. Bradford checking out his
number
left
71,
hand.
offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Right tackle Smith.
No question about it. And it is one of the things, let's face it, Sam Bradford's been their quarterback all of a week. So we've seen a couple of times they've jumped off sides. Looks like he's massaging that left thumb. Not the end of the world, but probably not too comfortable either.
Makes it 1st down and 15. And again, you got action up front. This time it might have been Fusco, the right guard. Yep.
Full start, number 63, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
So Smith and Fusco have turned a 1st and 10 into a 1st and 20.
Well, and Sam Bradford's doing the right thing. He tried to get that 5 yards back. You could hear the hard count that time. And so now they're exactly where they cannot be. This mauling group of offensive linemen are going to be forced to sit back. But Sam Bradford's been around. He'll probably have some sort of a short completion here and try and get a piece of it back.
So that graphic, 5.5 penalties last year per game. Best in the league tonight, already 5. And now Peterson trying to find some space. Gets tackled out of bounds at the 18-yard line by Clinton Dix. 2nd down and 14 after a gain of 6.
Well, that Clinton Dix has become a player, hasn't he? Leading tackler in 2015 for this team. Only allowed 1 touchdown into his zone a season ago. And really has become pretty dynamic with Clay Matthews on the outside. A lot of times you'll see Clay Matthews do something a little strange, and it's Clinton Dix who comes in and fills the gap for him.
Dix, number 1 pick of the Packers in 2014. Bradford stays in the pocket, throws. That's Diggs again, and he'll take it to the 7-yard line, setting up a 3rd down at about 3. Martinez and Rollins in on the tackle.
I tell you what I like about this. They're going the spread formation now, and so what's happening is now you're starting to isolate those young linebackers inside. Going to get Diggs down there, but watch him. He's between Jake Ryan and Blake Martinez, 2 very young guys on the inside of the field. And there is an opportunity for him to complete some passes in there.
3rd down and 4 from the 8. Bradford to the end zone. Rudolph, touchdown Vikings. The tight end working on the strong safety Morgan Burnett. And so the first touchdown in the history of U.S. Bank Stadium belongs to Kyle Rudolph.
There he is right there, just going to run out here to the corner. Nicely done. The Pro Bowl MVP back in 2012.
Yeah, I think 13. I think.
Beautifully done. And for Sam Bradford to come back from that 1st down and 20 and score a touchdown, he did it just as a veteran would. Pick up a couple at a time and then throw for the touchdown.
So that's the first Viking touchdown in the building. Jordy Nelson will go into the record books as the first to score a touchdown here. And now Blair Walsh for the extra point. He missed one last week and 2 field goals, but he made 4 field goals, and this one is good. Nice drive, overcoming that 1st and 20, and the Minnesota Vikings get their first touchdown of the season to tie the game at 7. Brady, of course, suspended for 2 more games. That's the Thursday night game. You saw Chris Carter, the display there inside the Viking Museum here inside the stadium as the kickoff is down to the end zone by Ty Montgomery. So 10:14 to go in the half. 7-7. We have some drama here. You saw Bradford looking at that left hand. He did throw the touchdown pass. Here's how it happened, but he's back in the locker room right now.
Yeah, Clay Matthews going to drive his hand right back into his own body, and you can see him looking at the outside of that hand, and it's a little distorted looking. Can you see all of that right there? And that's what they're probably looking at back in the locker room.
Sure, Michelle will be on top of that. Sean Hill, who was the starter last week, is the backup quarterback. Right now the Packers begin this drive from the 25-yard line. Lacey looks for room on the outside. Finds very little, picks up 2 yards. 2nd and 8. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, Sam Bradford has actually now gone back to the x-ray room with head athletic trainer Eric Sugarman, again to look at that left hand, Al, that non-throwing hand, as you pointed out.
All right, thank you, Michelle. There's only one other quarterback, and there he is, Sean Hill on the sideline. Another look at Bradford's hand.
There you go. Sean Hill played pretty well last week. Didn't turn it over. Didn't score any touchdowns, but didn't make any big mistakes either.
From the 27 is Lacey. Up to the 31 goes Eddie. And Bradford now coming back in, so a big sigh of relief among the 66,000 fans, at least those who saw Sam go back to the locker room as he comes back to the sideline.
Now, do you think they could actually see what the x-ray is by now, or did they just take it and we'll tell you at halftime kind of thing?
High tech, baby. I don't know.
Maybe so.
Instantaneous.
We're in this stadium. I'm sure they've got some new technology here.
3rd and 4. Randall Cobb flanking Rodgers. And Rodgers dancing away as he does so brilliantly, and then just slings it away. Nobody was open, so Aaron throws it out of bounds. Everson Griffin put the heat on that time, and it's 4th down for the Packers.
Yeah, you can see David Bakhtiari right here. Aaron Rodgers felt this pressure from Everson Griffin, but he really didn't have to bail out of it. Of course, if you're a Packers fan, you don't mind when he bails out because he does so many great things, but that time didn't get it done.
Jacob Shum ready for his 3rd punt of the night. First 2 have gone 42-38. This one is angled toward the far side, and it's a short kick that bounds out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Chuck Foreman on the right. Viking legends here tonight in force. Speaking of Teddy Bridgewater, let's go to Michelle Tafoya.
Yeah, well, Bridgewater's season ended when, during a non-contact drill in practice, he tore the ACL in his left knee. That's that major ligament. Then dislocated that knee, meaning that the femur or thigh bone moved out of alignment with the tibia in the shin. The Vikings confirmed that multiple ligaments were repaired, but only revealed the ACL and the dislocation. He's been rehabbing regularly and is able to move that knee at 90 degrees already, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. There's Rick Spielman who made the trade. And you know, Chris, when you think about the Bradford trade, you know, look, we hope Bridgewater comes back. Meanwhile, Adrian Peterson flanks wide to the right on 1st down. And he takes the snap.
Wildcat.
And gets up to the 38-yard line. But, you know, you're talking about Bradford. We hope Teddy comes back. You don't know, next year or whenever. Bradford could be, the long-term answer too here.
All I can say is I would have made the deal. You get a chance to get the first overall pick, who had a terrific second half of last year. He's never really been able to settle into one system, always changing coordinators. And for Spielman, it was, I thought, a pretty easy choice, because until you get a quarterback, you don't have a chance to win that Lombardi Trophy. I don't think. I would have pulled the trigger in a heartbeat.
And he did. First rounder next year and a fourth rounder in 2 years. And Bradford retreats, and it's juggled and incomplete. That's Jake Ryan, the inside linebacker, covering the tight end Kyle Rudolph, and it's 3rd down and 6.
It's kind of interesting. Jake Ryan, now one of the veteran linebackers on this team. He struggled in that game we did out in Arizona trying to cover some of their backs coming out of the backfield. But so far tonight, he's done a pretty nice job in there.
Ryan and Blake Martinez, the rookie out of Stanford. They gave Martinez the speaker in the helmet in his rookie season. 3rd down and 6. Seattle, the 3rd down back, comes in. Bring in Ellison for extra protection in the backfield. And Bradford looks at the alignment, and he saw that play clock running all the way down, and takes Minnesota's first time out halfway through the second quarter.
I'll tell you, it's been a rough go so far for this Minnesota offensive line. Adrian Peterson, 5 rushes for -3 yards. It has been all Sam Bradford tonight, and but for him, this offense would have nothing going. Really, on the other side, Aaron Rodgers hasn't gotten a lot going either. 5 for 9 for 22 yards. They're only played the long pass interference call against Terrence Newman. So this has been a game dominated by defense so far.
You updated some numbers. That 1 rushing yard for the Vikings, and 111 through the air, 1 turnover. It came on the same play where it was recovered and then fumbled again, and then recovered by Green Bay. And now Minnesota has the ball, 3rd down and 6 at the 38-yard line. Here come the Packers, and getting him around the shirt and then knocking him down. The sack there, Nick Perry and Julius Peppers were there, combining for the sack. So on a 3rd and 6, they blitz. It's an 8-yard loss, and it's 4th and 14.
Well, here comes Perry this time, going around his former teammate out there, or at least former USC Trojan. Gets just enough of the jersey of Bradford. It's tough. Bradford's really doing all he can, but they just cannot hold up either running the football or in pass protection.
They're going to give Peppers full credit for that sack. Certainly Perry deserves an assist on the play. And Locke's punt, fair catch called for, made at the 24 by Micah Hyde. A little less than 7 to go in the half. 7-7 in Minneapolis. From the 24-yard line. Rodgers beginning this drive with a throw to the outside, a little high for Jordy Nelson, covered by Trey Wayne, 2nd down.
Well, you're in a new stadium, and you've got to try to hear the snap count. Watch these 2 tackles on the outside. Brian Balaga and David Bakhtiari, they've got to look in at the ball in order to see it. But imagine how tough it is to go from looking at the ball to swinging your head all the way out and then seeing Everson Griffin, one of the better pass rushers in the league, coming at you. A very difficult process. Talk about the advantage of playing at home or on the road. You get a pretty good feel for it there.
2nd and 10. Rodgers has him spread out. And a little flip to Cobb, and Cobb spinning and dancing his way up to the 31-yard line before he's tackled by Harrison Smith. He's a guy who can do so many things. He very often lines up in the backfield. Of course, he's a very fine receiver, and they really missed him in that Arizona playoff game last year when he got hurt, spitting up blood, and they had to finish the game without him.
And it's part of the reason they didn't go for 2 at the end of the game after the Hail Mary, because they had all their 2-point plays revolved around him.
That was after the Hail Mary to Janis. Arizona won the toss after the coin didn't flip, and Larry Fitzgerald took care of the rest of the game. Green Bay never saw the ball. 3rd and 3, and that pass is caught by Nelson with a flag down, and Nelson is able to take the ball into Viking territory, and we'll see about the call.
Offside, number 97, defense, lined up in the neutral zone. The penalty is declined. First down.
That's a 21-yard gain after the call against Griffin.
Trey Wayne's going to be right there. See Jordy Nelson coming off the ball, just missed it. He had that happen to him a few times last time, but Jordy Nelson and Aaron Rodgers a little sharper tonight, aren't they, Al, than what we saw a week ago? They were a little uncomfortable in the first quarter. Jordy didn't even play in the preseason, but about halftime you could see some of that chemistry coming back.
And they were all gassed down there because it was about 137 degrees in Jacksonville. Never felt that way. And they give it to Randall Cobb coming out of the backfield for a short gain to the 46-yard line.
Yeah, I remember Randall Cobb playing at the University of Kentucky. He did everything. He was the quarterback down there for a long time. He was running back. He played receiver, returned punts, returned kickoffs. And they decided they'd like to have a whole bunch of that here. He did not come up with the big plays, though, a season ago that maybe he did in 2014 with Jordy Nelson opposite of him. And we really have yet to see those big plays emerge from this offense this season.
Yeah, with Nelson gone, he drew the primary attention from the defense. 2nd down and 9 from the 47-yard line. And Rodgers has to take a timeout. Rodgers stymied by that Minnesota defense thus far. 7 of 12. You don't see that very often from him. 50 yards. That's a little over 4 per pass. Of course, Mike Zimmer has worked wonders with this Minnesota defense. Now in his 3rd year at the helm. Longtime assistant, Dallas and Cincinnati, and finally got the opportunity here 3 seasons ago.
No doubt about it. Mike Zimmer should have been a head coach a lot sooner than what he was. He's done a job here.
So 2nd down and 9 after the timeout. 5 minutes to go in the first half. Play action. That buys time. Sliding and looking, and the secondary does its job. Nobody open. And that'll make it 3rd down and 9.
Got to give credit to Trey Waynes there. Jordy Nelson, they were looking for this big play that had been missing. Here he is right up here. But Trey Waynes stuck with him the entire way, and you could tell that Aaron Rodgers wanted to go there, just didn't feel comfortable and threw it away. Trey Waynes had a nice game. If he can just make some plays on the ball when he's in the right position now, he would have a chance for some great plays.
Well, taking the place of the injured Xavier Rhodes as Green Bay comes up on a 3rd and 9. When they back off defensively, get rearranged. Rodgers down to 1 as he gets it snapped. Pressure coming, and he gets it over the middle, and it's incomplete. That was intended for Randall Cobb. So the Vikings giving the Green Bay offense all sorts of trouble tonight. 4th down.
Yeah, this was really well done by the defense right here. They're going to make all kinds of shifts and changes. Aaron Rodgers, with the play clock ticking down, made a late audible, and they just never quite got on the same page. So that time, a defensive audible really won the day.
It's Marcus Sherrills back to accept the kick from the foot of Shum, who has kicked 3 times tonight, averaging 38 yards. Put some backspin on it, and the fair catch is called for and made at the 12-yard line. Adrian Peterson against the Vikings with the most rushing yards per game against one team. Jim Brown killed the Eagles, almost 122 per game. Barry Sanders against the Bucks had a field day almost every game. Jim Brown against the Cardinals. Jim Brown against the Steelers. Jim Brown against almost anybody. And then Adrian Peterson in his career against the Packers has averaged 110 yards per game. But tonight, Adrian Peterson has 6 carries for net 1 yard.
Yeah, not a good night for Mike McCarthy's son. His son George picked Adrian Peterson on his fantasy team. Said there's a bit of a family feud over that. George refused to sit Adrian, but so far the Packers defense, they sat him.
And when you're 13, you can do anything you want, right? And here goes Peterson, and picks up a couple of fantasy points to the 19. Here's a guy, of course, who has had a spectacular career, has missed almost 2 full seasons, one because of a knee injury, one because of a suspension 2 years ago. Came back, he's 31 years old. He won the rushing title last season, as we said before, 7 times to the Pro Bowl, MVP in 2012. To win a rushing title against a line that gets restructured is really something.
Yeah, remember Sam Bradford talking about working out with him at Oklahoma. He said people would come from miles around just to watch his workout. He said it wasn't human.
And Peterson taking the hand off from his 13th different quarterback and tries to stretch for a first down. A little very close right there. Matthews makes the tackle. Anderson ready to spot the ball and appears to be a little bit short of the first down. So signaled by Anderson. 13 different quarterbacks has Adrian Peterson gotten the ball from in his 10 years in the league. And then you look at Green Bay on the other side, and it's been, Favre and Rodgers, except for a couple of stray games.
They love double teaming these defensive tackles inside and playing power football. Let's see if that's what they do here. Double teams is what they like.
Third and inches, and Peterson is able to angle his shoulders and pick up the first down as he gets to the 24-yard line.
There we go. Double teams. There you go, right there. And then Peterson gets a chance to just pick whichever hole he likes from there. Almost got caught from the backside that time, but well done. 3 runs and a first down. That's a first tonight.
There's Clinton Dix coming up to plug the hole, but a little too late on a 3rd and inches. Under 3 to play. From the 24. Bradford deep downfield off the play fake for Diggs, and he's able to come up with the ball at the 32-yard line. He is the go-to guy now, Stephon Diggs, with the gainer all the way to the 32. That's 44 yards, stretching out, reaching out, controlling it, keeping it off the ground. Big game.
We have a superstar emerging. This Stephon Diggs was good last year. He's better now. Great read by Sam Bradford. Saw Clinton Dix cheating over a bit and took advantage.
Hustles him up to the line, does Sam. Fake, steps up, feels the pressure, and gets hit as he throws, and that's incomplete. And that takes us to the 2-minute warning. 4 seconds inside of that. 1:56 to go in the half. 7-7 in Minnesota. Second down and 10 for Minnesota from the 32-yard line. Pressure comes. Bradford gets it to the 26-yard line. And it's Charles Johnson making his first catch. The Vikings have 167 total yards tonight. And the Green Bay Packers have 56.
Well, the Vikings are in this game because of Sam Bradford and Stephon Diggs. Those 2 guys have just dominated this first half offensively, and there really hasn't been a whole lot of other offense.
And the defense has done its work. And bad play was the 40-yard pass interference. As Bradford throws, it's caught by Rudolph, and Rudolph gets slung down a little short of the first down by Micah Hyde. So now you got 4th and less than a yard. And you know what the crowd wants Zimmer to do.
At the very least, you'd get him to try to jump off sides.
Well, they started to send Walsh out. Crowd didn't like that. Now they keep the offense back in. 4th and a short 1. Peterson back in. You got Zach Line in as the fullback. And then Rudolph can provide leverage out of the slot on the right side. And they try to draw him off.
Delay of game.
And don't.
Offense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Well, the crowd doesn't like that to begin with, and that's going to make it just a little tougher for Mr. Walsh.
But I tell you what it did do is it ran time off the clock, so it didn't give Green Bay a chance to stop it. I'm sure they didn't want to do it and try and help them score. So that had to be part of the strategy. Either that or Blair Walsh, who's much better with long kicks than short kicks.
Yeah, well, he missed the 27-yarder in the playoff game against Seattle. Not that he needs to be reminded of that.
He needs to make this kick.
Yeah, this is 46 yards.
This is much more in his wheelhouse.
Holder is Jeff Locke. And Blair Walsh is able to bang it through. So he gives Minnesota its first lead ever in their new Dix. 10-7.
She got to go to what, a football game and a soccer match on Saturday. She was fired up.
Pretty good. It's 25 cents a mile for expenses driving from home. 27 seconds remaining. Green Bay is going to get the ball to start the second half, and they'll get the ball here in the waning seconds of the first half. And Blair Walsh will send this one through the end zone. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Bud Light, here with your team on it. By Samsung Pay, turn your phone into your wallet. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. And by the 2017 Kia Sorento. Learn more at kia.com. Closest club seats to the field in the NFL, just 41 feet. Less than 14 yards from the sideline. Right on top of the action. They really did a great job here.
It's going to be fabulous for the Super Bowl, won't it?
Oh, yes.
Tremendous.
So Rodgers will line up in the gun. Starks is with him. Rodgers rolling, and you know what he can do when he throws a Hail Mary. Anything can happen. You got all kinds of action going on.
Offensive.
And a flag is thrown as Devontae Adams in a wrestling match comes back and is able to make the catch. And who's the penalty going to be called on?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers took a shot at the end of that one. It's a good play. Devontae Adams just going to take a shot. Why not here? But he clearly interfered.
It's going to be against Green Bay.
Pass
offense.
interference, number 17, offense, 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
It's on Adams. That's how he got position. Of course, anytime Rodgers puts up a Hail Mary, you don't know what can happen.
We pay attention.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly offensive pass interference. Now watch the shot here. Griffin's going to put on Aaron Rodgers. So you want to play some games at the end of the first half and take a shot. I would too, but at what price?
That is the first penalty against Green Bay tonight. There have been 6 against Minnesota, which was the least penalized team last season. 1st and 20. And Rodgers, does he get him to offside, or is it a false start?
Aaron's so mad they didn't snap the ball. He wanted that free play.
Neutral zone infraction, number 96, defense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Brian Robinson.
That was the whole reason for the hard count. Try and get this and then throw up the Hail Mary. Oh, look at him. He's so mad at J.C. Treader. Snap the ball. What are you doing? Come on.
He's dined out on drawing the defense offside and cashing in through his career. From the 20, 18 seconds left. That's Cobb. And Cobb will get knocked down to the 29-yard line, stays in bounds. And they will just let it run out as Rodgers heads for the locker room. So the first half at the brand new stadium in the books. Minnesota leading by a score of 10-7.
But what Bradford has done in the first half of this game has been remarkable. To come in here in 2 weeks' time and be able to come out against the Green Bay Packers and all the pressure opening this stadium. He has really been brilliant in the first half of this game.
Cool customer. We've been covering him for years. He signed that $50 million contract, which was gigantic in 2010 when he was the #1 draft choice. And, you know, guys buy houses and for their mothers and cars and the whole thing. They said to Sam, what's your major purchase for that $50 million? He said a ping pong table. But it was a good ping pong table. The 3-yard line. Here's Ty Montgomery taking it back up to the 25-yard line.
Well, let's go back and look at some of the key matchups here in the first half. Terrence Newman against Devontae Adams, and this was the big play. This was the offense, really, for the Green Bay Packers. A pass interference call, and then they get him again with Jordy Nelson on the outside. The hold there. Just a bit over anxious, but Trey Waynes, the young second-year player, I think has been sensational. He is about a 4.3 runner, and his speed is showing up. Even when he's been getting beat occasionally, he has the speed to catch up, and they have not felt the pain yet of losing Xavier Rhodes.
Right, Rhodes. Listen, both games this season as Eddie Lacy takes it up to the 32-yard line. Packers try to get some sort of a running game going. Lacy was 6 for 16 in the half. Gain of 9 here. 2nd down and 1.
Yeah, and we've seen Lacy do some nice things on opening day. He had a great move against Jacksonville, playing down there in that heat. But so far tonight, that's been about as good as it's been.
Pick up the pace here. Come to the line without a huddle. 2nd and 1. Rodgers surveying. And a toss to Lacy. Flag is down. He'll pick up a 1st down for the moment. Walt Anderson gives us the call.
Holding number 82. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Tight end Richard Rodgers.
That was a defensive call that drew that. Watch this. You're going to see the safety go back here and the safety come up here. And I think it surprised Rodgers. So he jumps out and ends up grabbing him, Sendejo, and getting the holding penalty. So just an opportunity there. Mike Zimmer changing that defensive look, I think, surprised Rodgers, and there's the hold.
Green Bay went almost the entire half without a penalty. Got one in the waning seconds, and now picked up a big one here, turning a 1st down into a 2nd down and 11. Short drop, and then the pass is incomplete. Jordy Nelson right there, and Trey Waynes blanketing him to make it 3rd down and 11.
They're just not on the same page yet. Jordy Nelson here did not anticipate this back shoulder throw. He should have. Trey Waynes was on the front shoulder, and they just did not figure it out. That's something they did in their sleep in 2014. That combination, those two guys, was the most prolific combination from 2010 to 2015, even though he didn't play.
Crowd roaring on the 3rd and 11, and Rodgers fires, and that's Cook. And Cook, for the moment, seemed to have the 1st down. Then he comes back a little bit. Where do they give him forward progress? A little short. Harrison Smith, the tight end Cook, they picked him up from St. Louis. He played with the Rams and the Titans. Looked like he had the 1st and then came back about a half a yard, and that cost him.
Al, a great call. All he had to do is catch this ball and go that way, and he had the 1st down. Instead, he tried to loop back underneath and gave it up. It was a good call by the officials because he willingly gave up that yard.
Jacob Shung. High boot. Fair caught, 24-yard line marker. Sherrills 2 minutes into the 2nd half. 10-7 Vikings, and they have the ball.
For Sam Bradford, the protection has been shaky at best as you look at those numbers. The running game non-existent, and yet on just 2 weeks' notice, Sam Bradford has taken over the football game. Beautiful touch pass here to get that drive started again, where only Kyle Rudolph could come up with it. He took a hit. He has a bruised left hand because of Clay Matthews. Went in for x-rays, came back out, and started doing more of this to Stephon Diggs, who also had a huge first half. Sam Bradford has been superior so far tonight.
From the 23, nice clean pocket. Here's Diggs again, slips a tackle, flag is thrown.
Mike Daniels didn't like it, so it must be roughing the passer.
And Daniels came in and hit Bradford after he released.
Oh, helmet to helmet for sure.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 76, defense. High contact to the quarterback's head, 15-yard penalty, down.
Brandon Fusco simply cannot handle Mike Daniels. Bull rush, then throws him aside, and then watch the helmet-to-helmet contact right there, no question. Tell you one thing they'll appreciate more than anything about what Sam Bradford has done here tonight is his toughness. Kind of a quiet guy. He's not going to lead in a vocal way, but he is displaying Viking toughness tonight.
From the 49-yard line, Peterson runs into his own man and there's nowhere to go. Ryan makes the tackle, ran into Fusco, and we go to Michelle.
Al, Packers nose tackle LaTroy Guyan is out with a left knee injury he suffered in the first half. They gave him a quick exam, quickly put an ice pack on it. He has not returned since. He is out, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. That means Kenny Clark, who's the #1 draft choice out of UCLA, the 6'3", 315-pound rookie. There he is, 97.
Yep, no B.J. Raji. Mike Purnell suspended. So it falls to the rookie now.
Yeah, B.J. retired. The age of 29. Pressure on Bradford, but he gets it away again, and Charles Johnson makes his second grab of the night, and the ball is into Packer territory. Gunter makes the tackle.
I tell you, Sam Bradford acts like he's been in this offense forever. They bring all the pressure in the world right up here, and he just sort of says, okay, go ahead, you do that, and I'm going to throw it right behind you. Bring up a 3rd down and short, and this is what this team is built for here. This is where they need to be converting these 3rd down and shorts.
Ball at the 46-yard line. Bradford, and this time under pressure, and down he goes sooner or later. 52 is going to get a sack, and Clay Matthews comes in to deck him.
Well, they're going to try and get it to Stephon Diggs on the outside, a little pick from Johnson, but when that wasn't there, they had it covered up. It was too late because then it was Clay Matthews finishing the deal.
69.5 sacks for Clay Matthews in his career. Just moved by Reggie White, because Reggie's spent a lot of years elsewhere. Pack the record book ahead of the great one. To the 13-yard line, Micah Hyde makes the fair catch. 10-7, Minnesota. Green Bay at its 14-yard line. Their second drive of the second half off the play fake, and that buys Rodgers a ton of time. And then a flag goes down because Waynes and Cobb both go to the ground.
Yeah, you know, sometimes a young player, they try to do too much. Trey Waynes was all over
Pass
that.
interference, number 26, defense. First down at the spot of the foul.
They're not beating him. I mean, watch this. You'll see it. Trey Waynes, he's all over the place, in perfect position. Just kind of panics a little bit at the end of that thing.
Held on, easy call. Makes it a first down. 13-yard penalty. Ball up at the 27-yard line. Rodgers out of the pocket, wide open. There is Jared Cook, the acquired during the offseason tight end with the Titans and the Rams, and Rodgers saying yesterday, hey, at least he finally gets a chance to play with a team that has a shot at winning.
Yeah, and he's played well here tonight. He's stepped back from 1 first down, but he is a big target in the middle of the field, and that's been something that's been missing here for a while.
Toss to Lacey. He can't get on track. Taken down at the line of scrimmage. Linval Joseph former New York Giant, makes the stop.
Boy,
Second down.
Linville Joseph at the end of last season got slowed by a toe injury, but for the first 14 weeks or so, he was one of the really dominant players in the National Football League, and they have some good ones on this defense.
Three receivers in a bunch to the right. Lacey is the back. Play action. Rogers scrambles away and just fires it into the bench. Everson Griffin put the pressure. Flag is down on this play. It was a 2nd and 11.
Prior to the pass, holding number 26, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Waynes picks up his 2nd penalty on this drive, automatic first.
4.3 speed, you don't have to do this stuff. So he's fine there. He's going to do a little, oh boy, wasn't a whole lot, was it? I don't know.
Enough to draw the flag.
I got fouled like that on every play, man. That was a big one, though.
Who knows anymore? From the 45-yard line, Lacey. And Lacey plowing ahead. Eddie Lacey to the 43-yard line, showing you why he was a high draft choice 2nd-round pick out of Alabama in 2013. Great power.
Oh, Tom Johnson was right there, and people were wrapping him up. But the one thing about Lacey, all the Vikings defenders said, when he makes contact, his feet never stop moving. He is a power football player. Of course, they were not happy with him at the end of last year. Thought he weighed too much. Went through some really extensive training with the P90X and all the things that he was doing, and that power showed up there.
Off the fake again. Rogers is going to go down at the 45-yard line, and that is Tom Johnson. Don Barclay had come into the game in place of T.J. Lang at right guard, and looks like Johnson may have exploited that.
Right there, you're going to see Chad Greenway is going to knock down Jared Cook, and that's where Aaron Rodgers was trying to go. And once he was on the ground, so was Rodgers.
And there was Barkley who gets beat. He comes back out. Lang had gone to the bench for a play. He's back in. And it's 2nd down and 12. And Rodgers underthrows it, but it's caught as Cook comes back to make the catch, falling down. And that sets up a 3rd down and 8 for the Packers.
Aaron Rodgers talked to us a little bit about throwing from all the different platforms. He said anybody can make easy throws. I practice all the hard ones. I don't know how he got enough arm strength on that one. He was completely off balance making that throw.
He's like a golfer that hits off hard pan and, you know, uphill lies and downhill lies. He says, I want to throw in practice out of situations that are not perfect.
We hit off a few of those lies, too.
Yeah, right. 3rd and 8. And Rodgers gets brushed. Here he goes again, and he's going to pack it in and run and then lose the ball, and it's loose again, and the Packers may have come up with their 3rd offensive recovery.
Oh my gosh, all the Vikings are going to do in practice next week is practice fumble recoveries.
Everson Griffin was able to force the fumble, and when it looked like the Vikings would come up with it, it's Jared Cook who saves the day again.
Just a great play by Everson Griffin to get back down the field, and Captain Munnerlyn just cannot get a handle on it.
Fumble recovered by the offense, forced down Green Bay.
Great play by Griffin to not go for the tackle and go for the ball, and it goes right between the hands of Captain Munnerlyn.
Through the course of recent history in the NFL, it's normally a 50-50 proposition as to whether the offense or defense recovers. Tonight it's 3-0 Green Bay on offense. Here's Starks, and he gets busted at the 25-yard line behind the line of scrimmage. Tom Johnson, number 92, Greenway there as well. 2nd and 12.
Boy, this is like old school rivalry between these two teams, right? Tom Johnson looks like he got shaken up, and the official is walking him off.
Yep.
Probably headed for concussion protocol here.
And Everson Griffin comes out as well on this 2nd and long upcoming.
Officials doing a much better job. Here's Johnson, helmet to helmet, and he must have been staggered a bit getting up because the officials walked him straight to the sideline. Now they have to go through a few tests.
Rodgers at the 24. 2nd and 12. Aaron throws underneath. That is caught by the other tight end. That's Richard Rodgers. He'll come up a little bit short of the first down. Harrison Smith stops him, and it's going to be 3rd down and 1. The unaffiliated neurotrauma specialist, part of the deal these days, on the bench checking out Johnson. 3rd and 1 after that gain of 11.
Mackenzie Alexander, the rookie, now in for Trey Waynes. Aaron Rodgers knows it too.
He resets Starks, and then he throws, and that is incomplete. Intended for Jordy Nelson, and that's Mackenzie Alexander. He went right to work on the rookie out of Clemson.
Yeah, they got exactly what they wanted. Jordy Nelson against Alexander, but he plays it perfectly. Alexander's been in a few big games. He played in the national championship game for Clemson against Alabama, so you're not going to scare him.
Well, for the moment, at least they're going to line up on a 4th and 1. Obviously in field goal range to tie the game. There's Waynes, who's out of the game right now. Aaron, with those hard counts, gets a lot of offsides. Will he snap it here? And he does. And he gives it to Starks, and it's going to be very close. Starks needed a yard. Looks to be, in terms of the yellow line, a little bit short of that.
Whoever gets the ball, one official, the one on our right, looked like he was going to mark a 1st down. The official at the top looked like he ran in short, and the one on the top grabbed the ball.
Well, the yellow line is unofficial, but it's very close to being almost perfect. So our guess is that Minnesota's going to have the ball after they bring the chains in.
That was a race between the two linesmen as to who got the ball first.
So McCarthy going for it, giving up the opportunity, or eschewing, as you might say, the opportunity to tie the game. Turn it over on downs. 4:57 to go in the 3rd. 3-point game. From the 13-yard line.
White 20. White 20 hot.
And Peterson, a little bit of room. You know, Chris, you're thinking about the division. Packers have dominated the division through the years, but if you forgot last year, Green Bay came in here, huge game for Minnesota, and beat them. And then Minnesota won on closing night. We were there for the Sunday night game to clinch the North.
Yeah, it was, and it was a fake punt, and it was really one of those close games. But for Mike Zimmer, he knows that to make a rivalry, you have to win a few key games, and he's starting to do that.
2nd down and 6. And Bradford throws, and it's caught by Diggs. He's off to the races again. Stephon Diggs to the 36 of Green Bay. Chased down by Jake Ryan. What a night for this guy.
Great job by Bradford. Now they're starting to force this up, which is going to force that coverage to fall off. And so Burnett comes up. They throw it right behind his head. Nicely done that time by Bradford. And it was set up because Adrian Peterson on 1st down got a decent run.
This is Diggs, who had 7 catches for 103 yards last week, and tonight 7 for 142. Fifth round draft choice last year out of Maryland.
I was talking to Norv Turner about it. He said Sam Bradford was at practice for about 5 minutes. And he said, this Stephon Diggs is pretty good, isn't he? He goes right away. He said, I got it. I know who to throw it to.
Timeout Green Bay. After the timeout, which was taken by Minnesota, not by Green Bay. Gain here for Adrian Peterson. Going up the middle, picking up 5 yards to the 32, and Peterson is down. Holding the right leg, so Adrian Peterson, what was his 12th carry of the night, needs the attention. Well, they have taken Adrian Peterson to the sideline, and he needed assistance. He could put no weight on it. And here's what happened, as it was Kyle Fackrell, the linebacker. You can see that ankle underneath, and that is the issue. And there he was, putting no weight at all on that right leg or ankle. So he is on the table. That puts Jerick McKinnon in the game as the running back, and they give it to him, and he gets taken down at the 30-yard line. That'll make it 3rd down and about 3.
Sam Bradford said, "You promised me Adrian Peterson when I got here." That is big.
So all eyes on that bench right now. They go no huddle here on a 3rd down and 3, and Bradford fires, and that's going to be a 4-yard gain. And enough for a 1st down to Adam Thielen, tackled by the linebacker Joe Thomas with 2.5 to go in the quarter.
Now Micah Hyde down.
That secondary, of course, already minus Sam Shields, who sustained another concussion. He's had a few in his career, and he is inactive tonight, the cornerback.
Yeah,
so an injury timeout while they tend to hide.
Stephon Diggs is becoming a star here tonight. 7 catches for 142 yards for his new favorite quarterback, Sam Bradford. Here he is going up against Demarius Randall, who is the best for the Green Bay Packers. A couple of second-year players going at it. This was a big 4th down conversion that Diggs made as well. And then the catch and run, doing his best Antonio Brown impersonation so far in this game.
Micah Hyde, who was shaken up before the commercial, walks off basically unassisted. Bradford on play action, going to the end zone. You got it. Diggs. Who else? Touchdown. A flag is down. Flag on the play. So Diggs gets free, beats his man. See about the call. Beat Demarius Randall. Vikings think it's against Green Bay, and I think the Packers do too. And there goes a very sad sight for all Viking fans. Adrian Peterson assisted back to the locker room.
Who would have ever believed, with Adrian Peterson a non-factor in this game, that Sam Bradford and Stephon Diggs would dominate?
Pass interference, number 23, defense. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
He was the man covering Diggs. That's 15 catches in 7 quarters this season for number 14.
Not only is Diggs good, but he's savvy. He went inside, worked back outside, which for most corners means you're going to go a fade to the corner of the end zone, then went back to the post again, and for Randall, it just confused him. Ended up having to grab and had a foul on that play anyway.
Walsh's extra point makes it a 10-point game.
Man.
2:11 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 100 or more receiving yards in the history of this team. Gene Washington all the way back in '69. Chris Carter, who's in the building tonight in '97, and there is Mr. Diggs.
Well, Sam Bradford's going to take a shot at the end of this play as well. Mike Daniels, his favorite guy, catches him right in the ribs, and he still drops it in there perfectly. I don't want to overstate this case, and I don't like hyperbole.
Go ahead.
But what Sam Bradford is doing tonight is unbelievable. He's here for 2 weeks. He's running this offense out of the hurry up, out of the no huddle. He's been taking a pounding. There's no running game to speak of. The protection has not been good. And he and Stephon Diggs are tearing it up. It is borderline unbelievable.
And he took a shot on that left hand and actually had to spend some time in the middle of the second quarter back in the locker room getting x-rayed. Trade for the moment looks pretty good.
I mean, think about these numbers. One quarterback in this game is going to go 21 for 28, 271, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. The other one 12 for 21, 97 yards. Would anybody have picked Sam Bradford over Aaron Rodgers with those 2 numbers?
Oh yeah, would have had that all the way.
You would. You always. You're that smart a guy.
Oh yeah. And it's a returnable kick, but it won't be returned by Ty Montgomery. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, you saw AP limp back to the locker room. There is no official word yet, but we watched the athletic trainer looking at the back outside corner of his right knee. They were testing the stability, trying to move that knee in different directions. He was clearly in a lot of pain and not in a very good mood about it. You saw he couldn't put any weight on it. Right now he's back there again. Nothing official at this point, Al.
All right, Michelle. So there was the scene. If you're wondering about the year that he missed because of the knee injury, it was the other leg. It was the left knee. So they just have to hope for the best right now. Right now they have a 10-point lead against Green Bay. That defense has been phenomenal tonight. 25-yard line. Starks is the back. And he gets bottled up. You know, Chris, I keep thinking about like a guy like Mike Zimmer, a great assistant coach, came up under Bill Parcells' tutelage, Dallas, Cincinnati, and he basically given up on the opportunity that he felt he would ever get to become a head coach. And here he is, and he's done a masterful job in 3 years here.
Well, he was in Cincinnati, so I got to know him pretty well. And all those players down there said, if you don't want to hear the truth, don't get around that guy. He is Bill Parcells to a T with the way that he talks to his football team, but boy, can he coach.
And there is Starks, who takes it up to the 39. There's a penalty. Green Bay moving back, so they know it's against them. That will negate the first down.
Holding number 70 offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Second down.
That's T.J. Lang.
Right there is where you're going to get the hold. As Barr tried to spin out, Lang sort of still had him, I guess.
Sort of, kind of.
Sort of, kind of.
Little over a minute to play. Second down and 14. Four-man rush. Rodgers, and adjusting on it is Adams. Pass is underthrown, and a flag comes in. You got Waynes right there. Sendeo is also in the neighborhood. Waynes has already been flagged twice here in the half.
Let's see what Zimmer's going to do. Is he going to pull him again?
Pass interference, number 26, defense. First down at the spot of the foul.
Well, he pulled him earlier. That means you have to bring in the rookie, Mackenzie Alexander.
Well, once again in perfect position, but not getting his head around. So all this contact is a foul. There is no question about it. He's just panicking, Al. He's in perfect position all night. He was in week 1 as well. But you can't do that. He has to learn in this league. You have to turn around and find the football.
3 penalties. That one 28 yards. And it gives Green Bay the ball at the 49. Rodgers with time, fires high and incomplete, intended for Jordy Nelson. Crossing over the middle, Newman covering. A minute to go in the third, 2nd and 10.
just don't see Aaron Rodgers miss many like that. Tom Johnson had a little pressure on him at the end, but maybe it was more of Eric Kendricks being underneath this throw. I think he tried to throw it over Kendricks' head and drop it in there, but that one wasn't dropping.
Little shovel. James Starks takes it, and he'll get the first down and a few more yards to the 35-yard line. First down, Green Bay.
They sort of had Kendricks in the middle of once again as that spy and hit him with this little shovel pass, and they got him blocked. So Mike McCarthy now digging a little deeper in the playbook, looking for something that can break through what has been a very stout Vikings defense.
Go no huddle here from the 35-yard line. Cook playing the role of fullback here. Give it to Starks, trying to get outside. And that takes it to the 33-yard line, and that should take us into the final quarter. It'll be second down and 8 when we begin the fourth on opening night at US Bank Stadium. Through 3, it is Minnesota 17, Green Bay 7. Sunday Night Football back after this. Sunday Night Football, looking down into this brand spanking new stadium, and it's second and 8 for Green Bay at the Viking 33-yard line. Rodgers pressured, down he goes at the 44-yard line. Everson Griffin gets the sack.
What a move this is. Watch how fast he gets around this corner, and David Bakhtiari, he can move his feet, but he's been getting close all night. But Griffin, who had 2 sacks in that game in week 17 to clinch the division, comes up with a big one there.
He was a 4th-round pick back in 2010 from USC. 3rd and 18. They have to get to the 25 to convert. Right now looking to get into field goal range to make it a 1-possession game or more. Rodgers going deep, and it is Nelson making the catch inside the 5-yard line. Rodgers, so many times through the years, extending the play, waiting, and Nelson finally getting free enough. 39 yards, first and goal.
There, Trey Wayne's trying to get his head around, but he gets there so late. He's what do you call it? Betwixt and between. You know, it's not like he's looking at the receiver and he's not finding the ball. And so Jordy Nelson, the veteran, just goes up over the top and makes the play.
Starks in the backfield with Rodgers on a first and goal. So that was a 3rd and 18. And now trying to make it a 3-point game. And Rodgers fires and almost intercepted at the goal line. Terrence Newman almost had the pick. Cut inside of Devontae Adams, 2nd and goal.
Little double clutch that time from Aaron Rodgers, and Terrence Newman, oh boy, he almost put a serious damper on this game for Packers fans. Looked like the Super Bowl play a little bit.
Yeah. Malcolm Butler.
Yeah.
2nd down and goal. You got Cobb and Starks both in the backfield with Rodgers. Blitz coming. Dump it off to Starks. You got 3 Vikings there to provide the escort out of bounds, and a cheerleader goes down as well. She's fine. Gets up. Gets the pom-poms going. 3rd and goal.
Man, Linval Joseph came through. They occupied every single gap on that one, and Linval Joseph was the beneficiary of it. And he comes in and just drills Aaron Rodgers, and it's a good thing Starks caught that one. I'm not so sure that wouldn't have been ruled a lateral.
It's a loss of 6, so it's 3rd and goal. Ball at the 10. Crowd doing its best to jam communications as Rodgers has time, dancing, under pressure, Gets away. Aaron Rodgers does it again. Touchdown. How many times have you seen it? Surrounded. Flag comes down at the end of the play. Rodgers dancing and able to finally find that open space and coasts into the end zone. And I think the way they're looking around, Sendejo took a shot.
And Sendejo
got a shot in.
Yeah, after he was well into the end zone. Randall Cobb didn't like it, and there we go. Sendejo at the end, he's clearly across the line. Now a shot at the franchise, and Rodgers didn't like it, and Cobb didn't like it, and here we go.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. After the score, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 73, offense.
Wow.
That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. That is number 73's first unsportsmanlike foul to consider for possible disqualification.
So they call it on Treader. Sendejo doesn't get flagged. New rule this year, 2 unsportsmanlike conducts, you're thrown out of the game. That's why Anderson gave the longer description.
I'm going to tell you what, J.C. Treader may have gotten a 15-yard penalty. That may have been the best block of the game right there. Linval Joseph, who has been terrorizing Rodgers inside, one-on-one block. Treader got it done, then came down to defend his quarterback and got that. And nobody's mad at him over there. They want him protecting number 12.
Crosby knocks it through. 12:41 to go in regulation in a close one on opening night at US Bank Stadium. 17-14 home team. Cordero Patterson out to the 45-yard line. He provided a big boost in the game last week at Tennessee with a 61-yard run back and a big boost here tonight. Let's go to Michelle.
Al, Adrian Peterson has been officially downgraded to out with a right knee injury, and the Vikings tell us it's unlikely we will receive further information about his injury tonight. Meanwhile, on defense, Danielle Hunter is questionable with a left knee injury, Al.
All right, Michelle, there was the scene when Adrian Peterson went out. Next week, they go to Carolina. Wildcat here. And that's McKinnon in the Wildcat. And he'll hand the ball off here. Coming around is Patterson. And Cordero Patterson, who had such a good rookie year, pretty good second year, and plays sparingly offensively, trying to get the referee to call a foul, which he will not. Loss of 2, 2nd and 12.
Cordero Patterson, generally when he actually gets in the game, gets the ball.
And now a flag comes in. He just threw it just now.
How many do they have in the huddle? Might be 12 out there. I think there are 12.
After the play, sportsmanlike conduct, number 14, offense. 15-yard penalty. It'll be 2nd down. That is number 14's first unsportsmanlike foul of the game for consideration for possible disqualification.
The only thing that Diggs has done wrong tonight. See if we can pick it up here. And Diggs actually comes off the sideline, so he comes out onto the field without your helmet. That's automatically a penalty.
There he comes right there.
Yep.
And that's a foul, nicely called by the officials. So the old sticking up for your teammate has cost each team 15 yards, and have both of those guys with 1 warning. Of course, that's the new rule this year, unsportsmanlike after the play's over. That's how you get ejected if you have 2.
Turned it into the 2nd and 27. Now it's going to be 3rd and 27 as Joe Thomas wraps up Jerick McKinnon. So McKinnon's got to be the guy, along with Matt Asiata, to pick up the running game in the absence of Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, and don't forget now that the Packers turned the ball over on that 4th and 1 down in field goal range. So if they had opted to kick that field goal, potentially we could have had a tie score here.
If. 3rd and 27. And over the middle, here's Diggs. And Diggs gets back to the 42-yard line, close to the original line of scrimmage, but his penalty put them in a big jam. And then they come with the punting unit now. Diggs has just made his 9th catch for 182 yards. And here comes Locke's 6th punt of the night. And Trevor Davis is going to go back, a rookie from Cal, to set up at his own 10-yard line.
Well, it just does you no good to stick up for your teammate like that. You know, I mean, what are you going to do? What is he going to do? Come off? He's the smallest guy in the field.
And a fair catch call for made at the 16-yard line. Mr. Rogers and company back to work, down by 3. 3-point game. Green Bay at its own 15-yard line.
See if they come back after Trey Waynes again, down at the bottom of your screen.
Little dump off, and Lacey can't handle it. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Trey Waynes in the second half. It's not like he hasn't been in position. He has. He's just grabby. Every time he gets down the field, he's grabbing and pulling and getting flags thrown on him and not getting his head around. And he's right there. He's just a pup. He's a young player, but he's going to have to learn in this league that grabbing gets you nowhere, and you've got to find the football.
He was their #1 draft choice last year out of Michigan State. Lacey, look at that hole, gigantic hole, and he runs right through it out to the 28-yard line for a 1st down.
Just sort of an inside zone, going to kick out here and loop right back through here. Really a gaping hole this time for Lacey. That's about the biggest hole he's seen so far this year.
Shaves it off the backside. Carried 11 times now for 49 yards. Under 10 to play in regulation. Nelson trying to get a block and picks up about 4 or 5. Randall Cobb was there in front of him. Newman rides him out, and it'll be 2nd down and 4 after a gain of 6.
Well, I tell you, great players just have a way of taking over the game, don't they? Aaron Rodgers coming up with that run for the touchdown when it looked like that pocket was collapsing is giving this team hope where it looked like there wasn't much for a while.
Rodgers out of the pistol. Hands it to Lacey, and that's a great ankle tackle from behind. Harrison Smith comes darting through to knock him down and sets up a 3rd and 3.
Before Mike Zimmer got here, Harrison Smith played center field. He was back 20 yards off the ball, and Mike Zimmer said, this guy's pretty good. I had to try him doing some few different things, and he makes a lot of plays behind the line of scrimmage. Big time play there.
3rd and 3.
Well, the first times we've seen that double-A blitz look, 2 linebackers up. Let's see if they blitz or not.
Crowd roaring as Rodgers throws, and it's caught. 1st down. Davante Adams working on Trey Waynes. Big conversion on a 3rd and 3. 1st down up at the 45-yard line.
They did. Both linebackers blitz, which means one-on-one coverage on the outside. Nice route that time by Davante Adams. The offensive line did a full push to their right-hand side, as did Rodgers. Everything moved that way. Protection held up and threw back.
Run. 319.
Toss Lacey. Smacked at the line of scrimmage. That's Barr right there. Anthony Barr. Their top pick in 2014 out of UCLA. No gain, 2nd and 10.
One of the best linebackers in all of football. There's just no question about it. Anthony Barr has gotten so much better in coverage. One of the top blitzing linebackers as far as when they give him the opportunity. Has taken over much more of the signal calling now for this football team. Big time play.
Meanwhile, Terrence Newman out of the game right now. Mackenzie Alexander, the rookie, at the top of your screen. And all he has to do is go head-to-head with Jordy Nelson. Pressure on Rodgers, fires over the middle, caught, first down to the 40-yard line. Goes Richard Rodgers. Rodgers to Rodgers. Sendejo makes the tackle. Clock ticks down to 7 minutes. First down, Green Bay.
One of the things Mike Zimmer is famous for, bringing these linebackers. The problem is it creates big voids in there.
And Rodgers, pressure, loses the ball again. Can Green Bay come up with a 4th offensive fumble recovery? Robinson created it, and this time Minnesota finally recovers a fumble. Aaron Rodgers trying to slip away, as he's done so deftly through the years, and this time it's Shamar Stephen who comes up with a recovery. Minnesota takes over at midfield. Brian Robinson, 10 years with the Vikings, drafted in 07, played his college ball at the University of Texas. Creates the fumble and then gets up and tells the crowd, come on. Let's hear it. Aaron Rodgers just shakes his head, and we'll go back to the fumble itself.
Look at Brian Bulaga having to look in here, and then you've got to go back and find the captain, Brian Robinson, who just does that little delayed move, then gets Bulaga's hands off of him and doesn't even consider going for the hit on Aaron Rodgers. Just strips the football right out. Great play, and finally the 4th time was the charm.
3 offensive fumbles recovered by Green Bay. Finally, they get the recovery. Asiata is in the backfield as Bradford leads them up at the 44-yard line.
120 hot.
And they give it to Asiata, who has some room, and he picks up a first down. To the 44-yard line he goes. And Minnesota can begin to work a little bit on the clock as well. A little more than 6.5 to go in regulation. First down.
It's kind of interesting there. Kyle Rudolph ran down the field like he was running a route, and Clinton Dix didn't come up to run support there, just sort of got fooled on the play. Sure, in man coverage.
47.
Asiata in the backfield. You've got a fullback in here right now, Zach Line,
120.
number 48.
120 hot.
And Bradford gives it to Asiata again, and this time nothing doing. He tries to get around the right side, and that's Morgan Burnett, who will be slow in getting up, who makes the tackle. And that will create a stoppage for the injury timeout. And when that happens, you have to come out for at least one play. Burnett arising. Sam Bradford, most by a player in his first game as a Viking. There have been some pretty good quarterbacks here, including one Mr. Fran Tarkenton.
If he ends up being what he might be, because he really, Al, has not had that full stretch of games. Even last year when he played so well in the latter 3 quarters of the season, he was still nursing that knee injury and learning a new system, and all those things at the beginning of the year got really hot. You just don't know what his upside still could be.
After all these years, and of course he's had an injury checkered career as well. And this pass is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Kenny Clark, number 1 draft choice, the rookie from UCLA, creates a 3rd and 11, and that stops the clock with 5:35.
They just don't have many options, and Morgan Burnett, he's one of those sort of hybrid guys. Dom Capers does such a great job between Micah Hyde and Morgan Burnett. They play about 16 to 18% of their snaps as a linebacker player. Gets the most out of all these guys. Here's Hyde up tight now.
Numbers for Bradford. Very efficient on 3rd down. McKinnon is in the backfield. Sam's going to get swallowed up at the 45-yard line. So you bring Peppers in pass rush situations, and that, of course, is something he's been doing for 15 seasons, several of those at Carolina, and Nick Perry as well, and that makes it 4th down and 21.
Matt Khalil's nursing some hip issues, but I tell you what, Nick Perry here just runs right over him. All right, here, watch this. So straight line directly through Matt Khalil, straight to Sam Bradford, and Julius Peppers did basically the same thing on the other side. These tackles, this offensive line has to be better, or Sam Bradford's not going to survive the year.
False start here against the
False
Vikings.
Start, number 20, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
On the punt team, Mackenzie Alexander, the rookie, backs him up. Tony Sperano coaching him up the offensive line. Tony, a couple of years ago, head coach with the Miami Dolphins. We've got Norv Turner, Pat Shurmur, and Sperano on the staff. 3 guys who have been head coaches in the National Football League. Jeff Locke to punt. Trevor Davis is going to let it go. And lucky for Locke, then it skirts the sideline. Could have gone out of bounds at around the 22. Instead, he gets every benefit of a bounce that takes the ball to the 9. 4:38 left, 50-yard punt. Three-point game here. Saying Skol, Skol. Viking cheer. Rodgers backed up to his own 9 after the 50-yard boot by Locke. Good protection. Then he dumps it off underneath, but an errant pass. Cook can't handle it. Makes it 2nd down and 10. Rodgers tonight 17 out of 30 for 183.
Rare miss there for Aaron Rodgers. Jared Cook had a chance, but this game is going to finish up probably as would be expected. Maybe this Vikings defense, Trey Waynes and company now are going to have to hold up for the last 4.5.
It's a 4-man rush. And the pass is caught but taken down immediately. Trey Waynes is right there with the tight end Jared Cook, and a very key 3rd and 7 coming up here.
Yeah, and Mike Zimmer has changed defenses now. He went to a trap zone coverage there. I think he's seen enough of Trey Waynes and man coverage. Let's see what they do here. Aaron Rodgers going to get a good long look.
Big conversion. If they have to punt, they're going to have to take their timeouts on defense. Ball at the 12-yard line, 3rd and 7. Showing blitz. Harrison Smith comes in, but they double him, and the pass is caught by Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb over the middle, 1st down on a 3rd and 7 after the 26.
They're coming right through there. Ended up, and James Starks made the key block to be able to pick that one up. Came with a safety blitz from Harrison Smith.
3.5 left in regulation. Rodgers again buying time. He's a lot of room to roam, and he exploits it and dances out of bounds up at the 37-yard line, and that should be enough for a 1st down, and is.
Yeah, you could tell Aaron Rodgers, at first it looked like Eric Kendricks was spying him in the middle of the field, and then he took off on coverage when James Starks left, and for Aaron Rodgers there was nobody left.
Rodgers, of course, so mobile. 3 runs tonight for 30 yards. That one good for 11. Also ran one in for a touchdown. Now the Vikings. How many will they send? They send an extra man, and that pass is knocked away, intended for Cobb, and it's Captain Munnerlyn. Long time Carolina Panther, came over a couple of years ago Barr put the pressure on Rodgers.
Big difference when big old Anthony Barr comes on the blitz against James Starks instead of the safety. Almost got there, forced Aaron to throw it just a bit before he was ready. Two really good play callers going at it down the stretch here.
2nd and 10 from the 36. Rodgers fires, and that will move the sticks as Adams makes the catch again, going in Waynes' direction. And the next snap will be under 3 minutes.
Just a little gun shy now. I think that they are so afraid of Trey Waynes getting the penalties. They've been playing a little bit more zone defense, and now Waynes being a little more cautious. Before he's been maybe a little overly aggressive, and now he's going to have to come back up and get that aggressive gene going again. Back at the line of scrimmage now in the bump and run now.
2.5 to go. Play clock at 4. Rodgers sliding right, looking to get out, and he can't. Goes down again. Linval Joseph is the first guy in there to knock him down.
Linval Joseph got a little bit of revenge that time on Treader, the center, right there. Going to slide the line all the way to the right, and Joseph is going to slide off, and this time Aaron Rodgers does not get away.
4-yard sack, 2nd and 14. Trying to get it off before the 2-minute warning. And they won't. That is the 2-minute warning. It's a 2nd down and 14 when we come back, and Green Bay has all of its timeouts. Close one in the opener. Vikings by 3. Second and 14 now. Robinson was on the table a moment ago. They were wrapping up his ankle, but he's out of the game for the moment. He had that big forced fumble.
Daniil Hunter back in there, and he was shaky to return earlier.
By Hunter, number 99. It's 2nd down and 14. The Vikings crowd the defensive line and then back off. And Rodgers throws on the run, and it's knocked away. Terrence Newman is there, intended for Jordy Nelson. 3rd and 14.
There's the danger when you're dealing with a veteran. Watch Terrence Newman out here looking right at Rodgers. Read this all the way, and really, if he had gotten that left hand in front, likely would have had that interception. The Packers lucky that one didn't go the other way, and Newman's disappointed.
38-year-old Terrence Newman out there on a 3rd down and 14.
Well, Trey Waynes down here at the bottom against Davante Adams, one-on-one.
Robinson is back in the game. Rodgers throws, and it's intercepted. It is picked off by Trey Waynes. Picking on him all night long, and finally, he might have the last say.
Trey Waynes, you just keep fighting, right, boss? There you go. Going to run a little post corner. He was wide open if he just stayed on the slant. And really, because it was a one-step move by Davante Adams, Trey Waynes really didn't even have a chance to react to it. The entire defense had flowed to the right side. Aaron Rodgers saw it, comes back to his one-on-one, and Trey Waynes, after an interesting night, it's the play of the game.
To say the least, but it's not over in the sense that Green Bay has all of its timeouts. So clearly, with a stop here, they get the ball back, and we know what this guy can do in clutch time. Ball at the 45-yard line. They start with Asiata and a fullback line in there. And this will be a 2.5, 3-yard gain, and Green Bay will take its first timeout. It'll be 2nd and 8. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, quickly, Morgan Burnett of the Packers questionable with a hamstring injury, Al.
All right, so there he is. He's out of the game. Chances are the safety's not going to be a factor on this drive as Minnesota figures to keep it on the ground. Minnesota next week. We don't know about Peterson, of course. Goes to Carolina. Green Bay will go home until October the 30th. They have 4 straight home games beginning next week and a bye.
It's a good time to be in Green Bay.
Oh, yeah. No carry-on luggage for these guys. Matthews on the sideline. Bradford back to the huddle after the timeout. 2nd down and 7.
You're going to get everybody up. If they want to take a shot with Diggs, he's one-on-one with no help anywhere.
And Asiata, I think you got to play it safe to make sure Green Bay uses all of its timeouts. I think. But what do either of us know, right?
Well, you know, that's the right call. Obviously, it is, and because you don't want to make it easy. But Aaron Rodgers just needs 3 to get us to overtime, and that's a lot of time to leave Aaron Rodgers. But you don't want to leave him a timeout either. But
right.
The likelihood of picking this up with the way the Packers are playing defense right now, running the ball, the way it's been going tonight, next to nil. So Sam Bradford's been your star. Stephon Diggs has been the other star. And if you're going to take a chance, you might hear.
Third down and 6 up at the 49-yard line. Bradford 22 out of 30, 286 and 2 touchdowns.
It looked like he was talking to Stephon Diggs in the huddle. Maybe I'm imagining things.
120. 120 hot.
Yep. Looking at him, but incomplete. And a flag, though, comes in. Demarius Randall with the penalty. And that is a killer for Green Bay.
I tell you, Zach Line made that play with a great blitz pickup. Tough call here.
Pass interference, number 29, defense. Automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
23, not 29.
Looked like their feet got tangled up, and that would not, but there's the foul. You can see the left arm hooking, grabbing, and turning. It is the turn right there. That's a great call by the official. Such a subtle move. But now let's watch Zach Line right here. If he doesn't pick up that blitz, it looked like Bradford was going to be sacked. Great call by the official. That is a tough one, and he got it right.
So 136. They can make Green Bay use its final timeout, which they will here, as Blake Martinez, the rookie, stuffs Asiata. And now Minnesota can take just about all the time off the clock. 133.
Sam
2nd and
Bradford
12.
talking to Stephon Diggs, I thought in the huddle, was an interesting moment here. Here he goes, Bradford, and there's Diggs, I believe, right there, and you could see him sort of looking at him and having a direct conversation with him. And they set it up. He kind of cut the split down to maybe make Randall believe that he was going to go to the out. Instead, he breaks to the in and gets the call.
Coming your way, big boy.
I'm going to bet they don't throw now, though.
You think?
I'm a gambling guy.
Yeah, sure you are.
120.
I'll give you 1 to 100. Asiata tripped up at the 40. And that can take us down to around 50 seconds or so before they have to snap it again. And the Minnesota Vikings are on the cusp of christening their new house. Interesting, they've played in 4 different stadiums, and every time they've played Green Bay in the first game at that stadium, whether it was Metropolitan Stadium, the Metrodome, or TCF Bank Stadium, Ziggy Wilf and his brother Mark, the owners of the team, Green Bay has spoiled the first game between these teams at every stadium. But tonight, looks like the tables are going to be turned here.
Yep. Unless we get another Hail Mary out of Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers, who doesn't create many turnovers and hasn't through the years, but 3 fumbles and a pick. Of course, only lost 1 of those fumbles, and that was a big one right there. Robinson, as Minnesota finally got a break and recovered it. And then of all people, Waynes with the interception.
Well, there won't be much time, but as far as Hail Marys are concerned, I don't know of anybody that can throw them any better than that guy.
Well, we've seen him.
Oh my gosh.
Last year he had the double Hail Mary in the Arizona playoff game. So they have to run one more play after this. And Bradford's able to take a few seconds off the clock. And then if you're the Minnesota Vikings right now, maybe you take the snap and you run around with the ball because you're going to have like 3 seconds left on the clock.
And I'm sure they'll let this thing run completely out here.
For sure.
And then you make a decision.
So Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
The near future, and who knows about the long term. And as we say, we only hope that Teddy Bridgewater has a full recovery from a bad knee injury sustained 3 weeks ago. Bradford coming to the sideline.
All he's got to do is take the ball and throw it kind of.
Yep. Do something with it. And the only thing that could kill him would be some wacky bad snap that gets picked up.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
So Minnesota will at least have to snap it and do something with it.
Well, if he puts a receiver to one side and just raises up and throws the ball, 3 seconds are going to go off.
The only thing that could do them in right now would be a terrible snap and a lucky recovery and run in for a touchdown by Green Bay. So this.
I think they're just going to throw it right over the head of Stephon Diggs down here at the bottom.
This will do it. Bradford, he'll take all the time off the clock, sends it to the heavens, and the Minnesota Vikings have beaten the Green Bay Packers.
That is one of the most impressive things I've seen a football player do. I have to tell you what Sam Bradford did tonight was one of the most impressive things I've seen against a very good football team under the pressure of opening a new stadium. That was great.
And got up to a bit of a slow start first 2 series till he gathered it. Went back to the locker room to have his left hand x-rayed. And just for a moment it looked like maybe Sean Hill would have to take the reins again. And the next thing you know, Sam Bradford has led this team right now to a victory tonight and a record of 2-0.